Hello, hello, hello. I'm a little late, 6 minutes, but I'm here. I am here. I'm going to wait just a few moments. I need to drink some water and settle myself a little bit. Oh, man, just giving just a few minutes here, see if, hopefully I was hoping I caught you guys at a good time. I'm just going to briefly go and see if I can post on the community page that we're live. So let me just do that. But in the meantime, if you are here, say hi, leave me a comment in the little chat section. Let me know how you're feeling today. How's today going for you? Let me see if I can share this. Yep, cool. I'm like so not used to doing all of this. All right, so we are live. I've been waiting all day for this. I'm so excited to finally be able to talk to you guys about, first of all, the new project that I launched today that is officially live now. The link for it is in the description box. But I didn't want to just come on here and say I'm launching something new because, okay, that's something I could just post real quick on the channel or like on the community tab or on Instagram. I really wanted to come on here and chat with you guys about purpose because that's something that I don't know if you've noticed, if you guys pay attention to the community tab, but I've been asking questions about purpose to you guys. And actually, I'm really happy a lot of you guys have been, actually answering the polls and things like that. I was asking questions across all social media, so Instagram and here on YouTube. And yeah, definitely got some really good answers. So one of the questions that I asked was if you felt like you knew what your purpose was, which it was a mixed response. Some of you said yes, some of you said no. And then I also asked the question, would you like to know what your purpose is? And that was pretty much like a resounding yes. So that was good information for me to know because it let me know that that's something that you guys are interested in. And then the last couple days, I'm sure you may have noticed, I have been posting little sneak peeks into the new project I've been working on, which is called Purposeful. And it is all about discovering your purpose. I'll go into that a little bit later. But yeah, there's been some good feedback on those two video sneak peeks as well. So yeah, I just wanted to hop on today and share a bit about purpose. I want to talk a little bit about what purpose is. I know I posted that sneak peek that kind of went into it and, about what it means to be full of purpose or purposeful. But there's messages on my heart that I really want to share with you guys regarding purpose and what purpose is, what it entails. And then, of course, I'm going to do a little plug because I just launched something amazing and I'm really, really, really excited about it. And you guys are going to be the first to have the link to it and to be able to see all the details and get to know all that stuff. Nobody else has that link yet. So you guys are special, my YouTube fam. So anyways, I'm going to just add a little thing to the chat. Oops, I don't want to be yelling at you guys in all caps. Okay, so let's talk purpose. I'm going to go ahead and dive into it. I've been on for about 4 minutes now, and we'll just see whoever pops in. Still trying to figure out timing when it comes to live videos. So if you didn't see the video I posted, I want to say Saturday, I posted a video, just a brief little short video that talks about what purpose is. And when you look it up in the dictionary, I mean, it's pretty blatant and straightforward what purpose is. Purpose is literally your mission in life. It's your why, it's your objective, it's your use. That's really how I like to think of it. Like, how are you contributing to the whole? And everybody has a unique purpose. And so in that video, I compared it to, a spoon is a spoon and a fork is a fork, and a fork isn't going to try to be a spoon and a spoon isn't going to try to be a fork, or a lizard isn't going to try to be a tiger and a tree isn't going to try to be a car. Everything has its own unique purpose in life. And that purpose is given by the creator of said thing, right? So who created you? Depending on what you believe, but I'm going to say God, right? So God created you. So that means God created you with a specific purpose. And it's not just to be happy or to be a spiritual being living in a human body, having a human experience. I know that's something that I hear a lot. Oh, we're just spirits experiencing humanity. No. There's a specific purpose, and the specific purpose is going to be something that helps the whole collective. It's not something that's just about you. It's literally your God-given purpose is something that's meant to help the whole. It's meant to specifically help the whole. When I say level up, I don't mean necessarily in a material way, although it can be, but how to spiritually mature. So before you're born, while you're in the womb, in your mother's womb, there's energy constantly flowing through her body while you are growing and gestating in her womb. And there's some specific events that happen, and they're called prenatal eclipses. I've been teaching on them all month, you guys. So I've been letting you guys in on the sneak stuff all month. But there's two specific events that occur before your birth, and one is a lunar eclipse and one is a solar eclipse. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for actually saying hi. So there's two eclipses that occur, and these eclipses are powerful energy. I mean, if you're part of the spiritual community in any capacity, you understand, no matter what religion you are either, you understand that eclipses have some sort of importance. And eclipses typically lay out the energy that humanity kind of needs to grow in, is the best way I like to explain it. And so while you're gestating in your mother's womb and you have these eclipses, this energy from these eclipses flowing through her body, it's weaving into your DNA your purpose. So, that's in the project I'm launching, the Purposeful course, we go deep into how these eclipses determine what your purpose is. I don't want to get into that right now, obviously, but you guys have seen all of the free lessons that have come out this month from the solar eclipse house and sign, and then we did the lunar eclipse sign last week, and then this week we'll be doing the lunar eclipse house. So you guys have been getting a lot of the sneak previews of a lot of this. But anyway, as you're gestating in the womb of your mother, this purpose is woven into your DNA. And then as you're born, you start walking through life unconsciously acting out your purpose. So one thing I want to get clear is that your purpose entails you teaching something to humanity. And whatever it is that you teach humanity is meant to level them up in a way where they become more mature. And that is determined by multiple factors. There's multiple layers of information that go into that. It's not just as simple as saying, okay, well, my solar eclipse is in this sign, that's my purpose. There's layers to this because we bring in your tropical chart and your sidereal chart for one. So both of those add layers to your purpose. And then we do the same with your lunar eclipses, which add even more layers. Then you've got the aspects between the two, which adds even more layers. So it's just layer upon layer upon layer that weaves itself into something that's unique to you. And again, the main purpose is that you're sharing something with humanity that is going to help that collective to grow. And so that's why I was touching on the eclipses occurring prior to your birth, because it's literally lessons. Those eclipses, that energy encompasses lessons that humanity needed to learn at that time that you were in your mother's womb. So whatever sign, whatever house, all of these different things determines this specific lesson that the people you come in contact with throughout your life, there's a specific lesson that they need to learn. There's a specific lesson that their spirit needs to be able to learn in order to grow. And it's again something where you're affecting the collective level, because as you touch many different people in your life, they're going to touch others, and it becomes almost like a ripple effect. So again, that's how you begin to fulfill your purpose. So like I mentioned before, your purpose is something that is determined before the time of your birth. And that is something that, like I said, is woven into your DNA. So it's something that you will consciously and unconsciously live out in your life. The whole point of me bringing up purpose is there's a lot of us walking around not fully knowing what our purpose is. And there's nothing wrong with unconsciously fulfilling your purpose. I want to get that straight. So there's nothing wrong with not knowing what your purpose is and just flowing through life and just unconsciously doing things because it's patterned into your DNA. The reason why I came out with this project that I came out with is because I wanted to take it to the next level. I wanted to take it from, okay, you're just unconsciously doing things. And let's be honest, a lot of us, when we're unconsciously living our purpose, we're questioning all the time if what we're doing is right. We're questioning if is this what God meant for me to do? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing with my life? Is this the career I'm supposed to do? Is this how I'm supposed to be doing things? Is this the project I'm supposed to do? Am I doing what I'm here to do? There's a lot of us that constantly question our purpose. That's why you have the midlife crisis, the quarter life crisis. These crises tend to occur really with your Saturn returns, for one, because Saturn returns deal a lot with the work you're here to do. But you begin to question, why am I here? And I want to be the first person to tell you that your career or your family or any role you take on in this world, any title you give yourself, is not your purpose, because that's something that a lot of people tend to think too. Oh, well, my purpose is to be a doctor. No, that's a role that you chose to take on that will maybe potentially help to fulfill your purpose. But your purpose is not to be a doctor. That's just one path you can take. Does that make sense? So how I like to think of it is you have your purpose here, kind of like this middleman kind of thing. And you have all of these different paths and channels that you can take to fulfilling this purpose. And then by fulfilling your purpose, you then experience the results of peace, abundance, happiness, feeling taken care of by life, by the universe, by God, whatever you call it. But being a doctor, being a teacher, being a mother, being a father, whatever the case is, a guide, a spiritual coach, it doesn't matter what you call yourself. That title isn't your purpose. Those are just roles that you're choosing to play out. And again, there's many different roles, there's many different channels, there's many different paths that you can take to fulfill your purpose. But your purpose, again, is like that mission. It is literally like, I came here to XYZ, and I can fulfill that purpose in many different ways. I can do it through my career. I can do it through volunteer work. I can do it through my religion, my spiritual doctrines. I could do it through family. I could do it through friends. I could do it through all kinds of things, hobbies, whatever. You can fulfill that purpose in many, many different ways. But your purpose will always remain what it is. And through fulfilling your purpose, because this was another thing that was brought up when I asked the question, do you know what your purpose is? And somebody brought up the fact that they'd always heard that your purpose was to be happy, but that didn't quite sit right. And when it comes to things like happiness and, love and fulfillment and all of these different things, those occur as a result of your purpose. When you naturally just work to fulfill that purpose, those things are a natural effect. That's how I like to think of it. Like, your purpose is the cause and the effect is this. You fulfill your purpose, you feel fulfilled, you feel happy, you feel loved, you feel all of these different things. So again, I just wanted to clear up any kind of confusion when it comes to a lot of that, because again, your purpose is not a role that you fill in life, because your roles change, right? You could be a teacher one day and then decide you want to be an artist the next, and the next day maybe you want to be a construction worker, and life goes on, right? So Your purpose is not any role or any career or any title that you decide to take on in life. It's also not to be happy or to be healthy or to be wealthy or any of those. Those are effects. Those are results or products of you fulfilling your purpose. So when I talk about being purposeful, it literally to me means full of purpose. Purposeful means you're not just subconsciously or unconsciously living your purpose. Because again, I mentioned how it's woven into your DNA. And so in some way, shape, or form throughout your life, you will fulfill your purpose. Now, if I'm not quite sure if you guys remember back to some of the lessons I've been teaching with the Astro Talk, but with each, of these eclipses and things like that, you have this lesson that you're here to teach, this purpose you're here to fulfill. And what am I trying to make sure I get my words right here? Man, and I just lost my train of thought. I hate when that happens. But that's why I'm trying not to look at the comments, but at the same time, I'm like, I want to look at the comments because I want to be able to respond back to you guys. But then as soon as I look at the comments, my mind goes off in a whole nother trail. So now I'm like, crap, now I forgot what I was saying. I'm just going to, right? Okay. Somebody remind me what I was talking about because I'm really drawing a blank here. I know I was talking about purpose and being purposeful. Okay, nope, I remember now. Okay, living unconsciously. So one of the things that I mentioned was your journey, the levels of maturity and things like that you'll experience with that solar eclipse energy, which represents your purpose. So when you live your purpose unconsciously, it's not guaranteed that it's going to feel good living it. Okay. When I say that, whether you're conscious of it or not, you're going to fulfill your purpose. This means you could either be, I hate using the terms good and bad, but you could either be a good example of a lesson you're teaching or a bad example of a lesson you're teaching, right? So, for example, I love using one of my solar eclipse signs. So one of my solar eclipse signs is in Cancer. And going back to that YouTube lesson, of course, we go deeper into this in the actual purposeful course. But one of the major things with Cancer solar eclipse is teaching people how to be able to really be centered with their emotions, being able to process and deal with emotions. So there's two ways you can really kind of go about it. Well, there's multiple ways, but when you're living your life unconsciously, you could either be a bad example of that, meaning you're out of control. Maybe you live life completely through your emotions. You're not able to be centered around anybody. Anything somebody says can trigger you and you're just running off at the bit, just like chewing somebody out. It's just your emotions are here and here and here and here, and they're just completely controlling your life. Emotions will do that in the sense that there'll be waves that flow through you. But when I hate saying bad example, but it's just when you think of the polarities, that's really what I'm trying to show here. So unconsciously, you could be living that example through not having any kind of control of your emotions. And so people will kind of look at you and say, well, man, I don't want to live that way. So they'll learn to have peace around themselves. They'll learn to be more centered within themselves because they don't want to be like you. But on the other hand, you could also teach that lesson of being able to process and deal with your emotions and essentially be that filter and not hold on to them and be able to just release them as they come. You could become that example where people feel safe around you. They feel comfortable. They feel a wave of peace in your energy because they're just like, man, I mean, she's never shaken, right? Or he's never shaken. And there's two different examples that you can give. There's two different ways that you could essentially be that example, but either way, you would teach that lesson of learning to process emotions. But when you live your purpose unconsciously, so taking again this example of the Cancer solar eclipse, should you act this out unconsciously, you're not guaranteed to be the good example or the bad example. It's kind of a mixed bag. But when you begin to walk in that purpose and you actually know what your purpose is and you're living it consciously, that's when you get to say, okay, I get to choose what example I am. I'm not just going to give in to all of my subconscious patterns and just let my life be all crazy and be this, this bad example. And I hate using that term, but just showing the example of polarity here. So you could, when you're consciously living your purpose, first of all, you're accepting that that is the purpose you've been given. You're not going to go and try and seek and say, okay, well, maybe my purpose is something else. You're accepting that that is your purpose, and you're embodying it fully, and you're embracing it, and you're owning it, and you're walking it. You're like, this is my purpose. I own it. This is my mission. I'm going to ensure that everything I do, I'm consciously living out whatever that purpose is, whatever your purpose, you discover that purpose to be. But it also means, again, that you're being conscious about it. You're choosing it on a day-to-day basis to be that quote unquote good example for people. Because when you're living unconsciously and you're kind of in that mixed bag mode, and you're kind of hopping maybe between good example, bad example, that positive or negative path as far as fulfilling your purpose and being that example for others, when you lean more towards that negative path or being that bad example, it's painful. It hurts. You know what I'm saying? The lessons get more and more difficult because in order for you to fulfill your purpose, like, don't think that you just came here and you've got your purpose locked in and you're just going to walk through life and it's going to be a breeze. It can be, but it depends on your perspective on it. And so when you know what your lesson is, or when you know what your purpose is, you know the lessons that that purpose entails. You know that in order for you to be able to share a specific message or a specific lesson or to help humanity in a specific way, there's going to be things that you're going to need to learn first in order to be able to carry that lesson out to others. So it makes it easier. You just think about it. When you know something's coming, it makes it easier to handle. You know what I'm saying? It's like you think about paying bills, right? When you know a bill is coming, you pay the bill. It's like, it's not a big deal. You know it was coming. But when you get hit with a bill that you weren't expecting, it's a totally different vibe. It's a totally different energy. And so it's the same thing when it comes to your purpose. Your purpose entails a slew of lessons with it. And you can either consciously know what your purpose is and know the lessons that it entails, so that when these lessons come up, because they will, no matter what level of maturity you're at, you're always going to have a lesson to learn. You're always going to have some way that you're being triggered or whatever, or things are being brought up. But when you're conscious in what your purpose is and you know what those lessons are that are coming up, you're just like, okay, well, I know what this is. I know that this is a lesson to teach me X, Y, Z, or this is a lesson to make sure I know, that I remember, you know what I'm saying? And so you're able to deal with it better. You're able to move through it easier. You're able to navigate it. It's kind of like, I've been through this rodeo. I know what to do. Now, when you're living it unconsciously, again, there's that risk there. There's that mixed bag. You could be living it positively. You could be living it negatively. You could be that positive example. You could be the negative example. And should you, again, lean towards that negative example, those lessons are going to get more and more difficult, and you're going to have no idea that they're coming. It's just going to be boom, boom, boom. And you're just going to feel like, I'm always getting hit with this. Why do I keep going through these same situations over and over and over again? Because for one, you don't even know that they're lessons. A lot of times we keep playing the victim. We keep saying, well, why does this keep happening to me? Whatever. But when you're living consciously, you're kind of like, okay, well, what's the lesson in this? Oh yeah, I know what my purpose is. And I know that purpose means that there's some lessons I need to learn. And I know, what these lessons are. And oh, this is a part of that lesson. You see how the energy is different. It's, again, bringing me back to that whole, you're paying bills and you get a surprise bill that you weren't expecting. And for the most part, you're not happy about it. You're kind of like, what the hell? I didn't budget for that. I wasn't ready for that. But when you know the bill is coming, you just pay it. It's almost like resistance versus flow. Which path is the path of least resistance? Path of least resistance is consciously knowing what your purpose is and walking in that every day. meaning you are purposefully living your life. You are living your life according to whatever mission it is that you came here with. And you're living your mission in a multitude of ways. Because remember, again, there's multiple paths to you fulfilling that purpose. There's multiple ways you can do it. You know, like for me, it could be through YouTube, it could be through courses, it could be through conversations with people that I meet, it could be through conversations with people I know, my family. You know, there's many different ways that I can personally fulfill my purpose. So don't ever get stuck on how you're going to do it, although you will learn a little bit of how you will fulfill it in the course. But don't get stuck on all the channels. There's many different ways, and you'll be led, you'll be led to whatever channels and paths and titles and roles that you are to take on in order to fulfill that purpose. So don't get stuck on what title do I need to be, what job do I need to have? Like that none of that matters. Okay. None of that matters here. There's many ways that you can fulfill that purpose. So again, when I mentioned with living purposefully, when you live, when you have a purposeful life, you are literally conscious of what your purpose is. Okay. You are conscious of what your purpose is. You're conscious of what those lessons within that purpose is that you need to learn before you can fulfill that purpose. And you're also conscious of really what that journey for you will look like as you mature in your purpose, as you mature in your lessons. You're going to be very clear on those things. And so nothing will really, I'm not going to say nothing will surprise you, because life is always full of surprises. But again, you have a whole different mindset about it. You have a whole different perspective on it. You see it differently. So we've talked about what purpose is. We've talked about what it means to be purposeful. And I definitely wanted to make sure that I covered the fact that your roles and your titles are not your purpose, and neither is being happy. That's a result of your purpose. Another thing here that I wanted to get into that I haven't mentioned in any of like the sneak peeks and things like that is the balancing of your masculine and feminine energy when it comes to this purpose. Y'all know I've been loving talking about balancing masculine and feminine energy lately. And this is something that we're going to go much deeper into in the actual purposeful course. But one thing that's become very, very clear to me lately is that your purpose requires your complete submission. And submission is a word that a lot of people get uncomfortable with, because, to them, it means that requires you giving something up. And people don't want to give anything up, right? Especially if you're coming from more of like the Christianity background, where submission is talked about in relationships. But your purpose requires your complete submission. And how I like to think of this, how it really honestly was given to me, because this isn't something that I just like, oh, let me intellectually figure this out. Like, no, it just flowed through me one day. How I live this out is I see myself as in a direct relationship with God. And I just see God as energy. I see God as an energy that created me, but I also see myself as part of God. But I am not God. Okay. That's just how I see things. You may see it differently, but I want to get that out of the way. And so I see myself as having a direct relationship with God. And God is both masculine and feminine energy. And if you've ever read the Bible, you know that it says that we were made in God's image and likeness, which means we already know we have positive and negative energy, or masculine and feminine energy within us. When you become in relationship with something else, there's a polarity that happens. And so it's like magnets, right? You can't have two positive ends of the magnet stick together. It's not going to happen. They're going to repel each other, because you need a positive and a negative in order for it to work. Like that's how everything works, right? You need a polarity. And so when you have a direct relationship with God, you need that polarity. And so honestly, this is why God is often referred to as a he, because when we're in relationship with God, God takes on the masculine energy. But again, remember, God is both masculine and feminine, right? There is no just big man in the sky looking down on you saying, ha ha ha, you're doing this wrong, you're not doing that right, blah blah blah, let me do this to you. No, no, no. It's again, it's an energy. But when you're in relationship to it, one side's got to take the positive or masculine side, and one side has to take that more feminine side. So when in direct relationship with God, God takes on that masculine polarity. We take on that feminine polarity. That feminine polarity requires submission, while the masculine polarity creates devotion. So when you submit to the purpose that God has laid out for your life, God then devotes, and I'm going to say himself only because God is acting in the masculine, right? God devotes himself to you. You're completely taken care of, but you have to be willing to submit. And that's a problem that a lot of us have. We don't want to fully submit to the purpose that we were born with. We don't want to submit to God because we want to feel like we're in control. We want to feel like we are in complete control. I'm God. I'm going to figure this out myself, right? But remember, I was talking path of least resistance. So you've got things you want in life. This is how I like to think of it, because this is something that I dealt with for years, is you saying, well, I want to have these things in life. I don't really feel like submitting to God and God's plan because I feel like I know what's best for me and it's hard for me to trust, right? We all have trust issues, right? It's hard for me to trust, especially to trust the being that I can't see. I'm just supposed to trust that this energy is going to take care of me if I just follow it. Yeah, okay, whatever. So I'm going to go do things my own way and I'm going to figure it out. But again, that's the path of the most resistance. It is the path of constant failure, constant just I'm just going to say failure. Not that you're not going to fail when you take the path of least resistance. You're going to fail regardless. You're going to make mistakes. But again, it's like the things that you want, you can achieve much easier when you take the path of least resistance. That path of least resistance is that path of full submission. It's that path of saying, okay, you know what? I'm going to trust that should I choose to consciously, because remember, I don't know how many of you guys have ever been part of the Christian religion, but I was for a very large part of my life. And, within that, it was always taught that you just lean not on your own understanding, that God always knew what was best and all of these different things. And that was very hard for me to grasp because I have a very intellectual mind. My masculine energy within me is very strong, and masculine energy loves to question everything. Hence why science and all these things you see, philosophy, science, even religion, oftentimes created by men. There's a reason for that. Masculine energy is that sense of going out and looking, going out and searching. It's that sense of protection, which is why I mentioned the whole trust issues and all that stuff. It's creating that security and being able to say this we're protected. We know this. Feminine energy is very much like, I'm just going to dive fully into it and trust. I'm just going to let go. It's that imaginative fantasy. This is the best outcome for me, romanticizing everything, and again, within masculine and feminine energy, there's their own polarities. Feminine energy can be protective. It can set boundaries. It can do all these things. Just like masculine energy can be creative and it can, do a lot of the things that feminine energy does. But again, they're both unique to their own. Feminine energy will do things in a specific way, just like masculine energy will do things in a specific way. It's like when you look at the male and female body and how the male body naturally has a lot more upper body strength, while the feminine or female body has a lot more lower body strength. They both have strength, but they're in different areas. Does that make sense? So masculine and feminine energy, while they can do a lot of similar things, they do them differently. They have strengths in different areas. So again, when you're in this direct relationship with God and you're taking on the feminine energy, Your role is to submit to God's purpose. But the issue within that is that you're both masculine and feminine within you. And your masculine part of you has to first feel as though it's safe enough for you to play that role. And that's an issue that we all tend to face. That's why so many people have problems submitting to God. I'm not talking about submitting to people in relationships. We're not even going there. I'm talking about submitting to God. A lot of us have that issue because there's that masculine energy in all of us. And that masculine energy is that I need to question, I need to know, I need to research, I need to have proof that this exists. I need to have proof that this will work. I need to have a system. I need to have all of these things in line, to make sure that there's safety, that there's a safety net, that I'm protected. You know what I'm saying? And that masculine energy will literally, I don't want to say block you, but it will keep you from stepping into that feminine role of submitting to your purpose. And so that's something that we work through in the purposeful course. That's something that we're going to be working through together, is really being able to navigate that masculine energy within you and seeing what it will take for you to actually feel like, okay, it's safe, we can trust now. Because as soon as you say that, the floodgates open and your feminine side is like, yes, let's dive in. And, like, I am ready, but your feminine side is waiting for your masculine side to say it's okay. Because again, feminine is always going to submit to masculine. And then the masculine energy is going to devote to feminine energy, meaning it's going to encompass, it's going to take care of that feminine energy, so that feminine energy has the space to be able to unleash itself. Because the feminine energy is powerful AF, guys. It is powerful. I talk a lot about how your subconscious mind is very powerful. Your subconscious mind is feminine energy. That's why people are even scared of Mother Earth, right? That feminine energy of creation and destruction. There needs to be boundaries around that. And that's where that masculine energy comes in to kind of set those boundaries to say, okay, unleash, but unleash within this space. So within you, it's almost like, I don't want to say it's a battle, but it's almost kind of like this, you just have to, it's learning how to move through that journey of your masculine needing to first feel like it has enough proof, to feel like it's done its research, to feel like things are safe before it says, okay, feminine, we can fully go into this. But then once the masculine gives that go ahead, the feminine is in. The feminine is ready. The feminine is like, okay, let's create, let's destroy this, and let's build this, let's do all these things. And when you get that right within you, when you get that masculine and feminine right within you, then you can fully step into that role of saying, okay, I'm going to play the feminine in this relationship with God. Otherwise, you end up trying to be the masculine energy. And I'm sorry, God is the supreme creator. God's not going to be like, yeah, let me just bow down to you and play the feminine role. Because that's honestly, when it comes to this spiritual community, that's how a lot of people treat God. They treat God in the universe like, oh, whatever I speak, it's just going to happen because boom, I'm God. That's not how it works. It's not at all. You don't command God to do X, Y, Z for you, and then God just bows down and say, yes, I submit to you. That's not how it works, okay? You must take on that feminine role if you want to take on that path of least resistance. And that's what I go deeply into with this purposeful course, going deeply into how do we begin to act in that feminine energy so that we can fully submit to our purpose, because that's what's going to make it easier. Otherwise, there's no point. You're just going to have this information that says what your purpose is, but that doesn't mean jack squat. Just because you know what you read something that outlines your purpose, it doesn't mean that you're going to do anything about it. So this is more than just, oh, let's have some fun with astrology and do some studying and learn some things about ourselves. It's no, we're going to do that. We're going to take it and we're going to reflect on it. And we're going to actually see, okay, where is this showing up in my life so that I have proof? And then we're going to say, okay, now how do we act in that more feminine role? Not meaning that you're a woman or that you're putting on makeup and all that stuff, but More so that how can I fully submit to that and trust that if I fulfill what my purpose is, I will be taken care of. You know, that's something that's not easy for a lot of us to do. I mean, shoot, women alone have a hard time submitting to to men in their relationships. Well, if a woman can't even submit to a man in a relationship, what makes you think she's going to submit to God? And men with their ego and their pride half the time, how they're so busy functioning out of the masculine in the world. What makes a man think it's going to be easy to function out of the feminine when it comes to your purpose and when it comes to submitting to that? It's not the easiest thing to do. So that's a lot of what we go into within purposeful. You know, it's not just let's just study your astrology. I mean, if that's the case, y'all could just watch the videos. I mean, I don't give y'all all the information, but it's definitely enough. You know, like if that was the case, just go watch all of the series of Astro Talk, because learning about the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse, that'll at least give you a bullet point of what your purpose is. You know, if it was just about the information, then that's all you'd need. But there's a lot of people walking around getting birth chart readings and natal readings and tarot card readings and all these things, asking people all these questions, and they're getting this information and they're not doing anything with it. You know, you can't just have something on an intellectual level and think that, oh, my life is going to change. Your life doesn't just change because you learn something new. You have to apply that knowledge. You have to actually act it out. You have to experiment with it. You know, you can learn what your purpose is, but if you don't actually experiment with it and play with it, you're never gonna, it's nothing's gonna happen there. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're doing in Purposeful. We're not just learning information and taking it on an intellectual level, we're embodying it fully. You know, that means taking it into your mind, your spirit, your body, everything. It's not just up here, it's in here, you know? So, and it's, a lot of it is about submission. A lot of it is about submission. So I'm going to try to go through some of these comments and see if there was anything that I can answer. Oh, hey, Saturn child. I'm excited to see a new video from you. What if your purpose is the wounded healer? Well, how do you know that that's your purpose? That's the first question. Why do you think that your purpose is to be the wounded healer? A lot of people in the spiritual community think that their purpose is to be the wounded healer, to take on the role of Chiron in your chart. Because Chiron is the wounded healer, right? In your chart. Represents a huge pain point for you. That's another thing I wanted to mention. Your birth chart. When it comes to your birth chart, your birth chart does not determine what your purpose is. I'm just going to say that. Your birth chart does not determine what your purpose is. Your birth chart is literally your patterns. It's all of your subconscious patterns. Now, the lessons that lie within those patterns within your birth chart can help you to fulfill your purpose, but they're not your purpose. I'll keep it there. Your birth chart is not your purpose. It's literally, it's like, it's your DNA. It's like, think of it as all of these different genes that turn on and off, you know? Even things like your north and south node. I know one thing I used to share a lot was the north and south node and how it gives you kind of like a direction in life. North and south node, as I've done more learning, because I'm always learning, I'm always growing. That's my role as a teacher, is to always be learning and growing so that I can always bring the best to my students. But north and south node is more about balance. It's more about what skills and talents you may need to develop versus skills and talents that you kind of mastered already, and you kind of need these to balance you out. That's north and south node. I just thought I'd mention that. But yeah, SK, if you can answer that question for me, I'll scroll down to see if you're still here and if you've been able to. But why would you think that your purpose is to be the wounded healer? What gave you that idea? Because anybody can claim that they're a wounded healer. Everybody experiences trauma. Everybody gets wounded in some way. And everybody is here to help heal humanity in some way. So essentially, everybody is a wounded healer, right? So what would make you think that that is your actual purpose? Let's see. And yes, my sun is in Virgo, but it's also in Leo in the sidereal chart. But again, that has nothing to do with my purpose per se. Depends on your moon sign. I don't even know what that was referring to. Sorry. I don't know what depends on your moon sign. But if you can let me know in the chat, then I'll respond to that. Let's see. I'd say purpose to get away from the noise. I'd say SK, I'd say I purpose to get away from the noise of the city and live in silence. I wouldn't say that that's your purpose, though. That could be something that you do, but that's not your purpose. There's a difference between your purpose and you just choosing to do something because you desire something. Like you just desire peace and quiet, so you want to move away from the city, but that's not your purpose. That makes sense. Yeah, so cities are noisy. They can be heard from long distances. Yeah. Okay, so anyways, if there's any other questions that you guys may have, definitely, my leg is sore. Definitely put them. How you are with your emotions depends on your moon sign. There's a lot that goes into your emotions. It's not just your moon sign. Your moon sign is much more than just your emotions. I'll just say that. It's a wonderful part of our birth chart. But I'm assuming you're referring to the example that I gave with solar eclipse in Cancer, which deals with emotions. And yes, your moon sign will help you to fulfill that purpose in a sense, because depending on what your moon sign is, there will be lessons dealing with emotions, but your moon is definitely more than just emotions. And there's other planets and I would say just energies within your chart in general that will play a role into your emotions. Mars, for one, plays into your emotions a lot. Venus does too. Honestly, the sun does too. A lot of the planets play a role in your emotions. It'd be more so how you may feel towards certain situations. The moon can be how you may express emotions or even how you may repress emotions, because you've got both positive and negative sides to the moon. Females on their period is by moon sign. I don't know what you mean by that. But anyways, yeah, I think I'm wondering if there was anything that I feel like I wanted to say regarding purpose. Honestly, feel like I laid it out all on the table. So before I jump into any more questions or just chats, because you guys can keep chatting. Oh, watching from Kenya. How awesome. That's so cool. The Purposeful course is officially launched now. I'm going to, when I end this live, I'm not saying I'm ending it now, but once I do end it, I'm going to go share it everywhere else as well. But enrollment is only open for 6 days. So from now until February 28th. And there's a reason for that. And that's the reason why I keep saying this project has been so special to me, because I am choosing this time to do a little something different. Normally when I release a course, Normally when I release courses, I release self-paced courses. Just because, I find that sometimes it's easier for people to be able to enter into something and take it at their own pace. But this time around, I was actually guided to do a mix. So this course is a mix of both self-paced learning, where you learn how to actually discover what your purpose is and you lay it out in a whole contract and everything. Um, but there's a whole live session to it. So we have a private Discord group. So I don't know if you've ever heard of Discord, but it's an app that a lot of gamers use to communicate with each other. And you can communicate with voice chat, video chat, like posting things like you would on Facebook and stuff. So first of all, we have a whole Discord private server just for us. And there's going to be 7 live sessions that happen with all of us. And there's a specific topic for each week. So every week on Monday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will be going live within the Discord group. So nobody else is going to see this but the students who are enrolled in the course. And we will be working through actually embodying what your purpose is. So the self-paced part is you actually putting together your purpose covenant. That part you can do on your own. You don't need me to do that for you. If you have questions, like I'm there to help, should questions pop up. But the main part of the course is learning how to actually embody and walk in your purpose. And so that's something where we're all going to be doing that together live in our weekly sessions. So you get 7 weekly sessions with me. There's no like set time limit on them. It's just until we end the discussion on that particular day. So we have that. And then again, we have the private Discord group. So we get to communicate with each other about many different things, whether it's questions, whether it's looking for encouragement, whether it's just making statements or having aha moments, whatever the case is. So I'm really, really excited about this because this is the first time I'm actually offering something that's a live program with me. Normally it's just, oh, here's a self-paced program, take it at your own pace, boom, here you go. Enrollment is always open, all that kind of thing. But this time it's a lot different. So again, you do have that self-paced part, but you also have the live sessions that help keep you committed to the course. Because there is that kind of happens when you do a self-paced course. Sometimes you can forget about it. So I want to make sure that I keep you guys committed to this. And so for 6 weeks, we're going to be working together, 42 days, working together directly. And then from then on, you'll always have access to the course. And then anytime there's updates to the course, you'll always have access to those. You also actually get free access to the Book of You course. So once you enroll into Purposeful, you'll gain free access to Book of You so that you can begin to piece together your natal chart and begin to work through any of those subconscious lessons that you may have as well when it comes to your purpose. That was an extra gift I wanted to add in because your purpose, when you mesh your chart with your purpose, it's magic. It's magic to me. It's pure magic because it's like you learn what your purpose is and you have it outlined for you and everything, and you learn what those lessons are. But then when you get to look into your birth chart, it's like icing on the cake. It really is, because I mean, I really wish I could put it into words. But I know personally for me, as I study my own chart and then I compare it with my purpose, I see how so many things add up. Like I can see why my sun is positioned the way it is, why my moon is where it is, why there's specific energies in each house. Like I can start to see these things and see how they lead into what my purpose is and how they just kind of help me. It's there to help me to grow, to fulfill that purpose. So yeah, you get full access for free to the Book of You course as well when you enroll into Purposeful. So I'm really excited in this course. And again, there's only 6 days to enroll. Like that's it. Like once enrollment closes, that's it. Then it's we're working together for 6 weeks. Nobody else can join in just because they felt like it. So that in a nutshell is purposeful. Again, the link for it is down below to enroll, and I'll be posting about it all throughout this week because, hello, this is launch week, and it will be closing on the 28th, and I want to make sure that I get that message out to as many people as possible. Let's see. I don't care if you screen record it. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. So I guess that might be it, unless there's any other questions or comments that anybody else has for me. Yeah, might be time for me to go ahead and end this. But other than that, I'm super excited. SK, you never did answer my question on what made you think your purpose is to be the wounded healer, unless you were trying to tie that into you wanting silence or something from cities. But if you're still here, you can comment and I'll try to answer your question as best as I can. Otherwise, I'll have to end the live without answering it. And you can always just comment after. See, yeah. What about dreams? I'm not sure what your question is in 12th house stuff. You have to be a little bit more specific on what your question is when it comes to dreams and 12th house stuff, and how like, are you trying to play that into your purpose, or are you just asking about 12th house stuff in general? I'm not quite sure what you're alluding to. In which course? The purposeful course or the Book of You course? So weird, like sitting here and waiting for somebody to comment back. I feel like I'm just sitting in silence. Book of You. So the way Book of You works, for those of you who have not yet enrolled or just wondering, things get rolled out in sections. So the section that got rolled out most recently is prenatal eclipses. So you can learn about your prenatal eclipses in the Book of You course. You just won't get all that you get in Purposeful, which is all of the embodiment, the live sessions, the whole group concept focusing on your purpose. You won't get any of that when it comes to Book of You. You'll just get the actual information. So Book of You is meant to kind of almost be like a database, in a sense, like a database / self-paced course, where you are able to just bit by bit learn how to put your chart together. And it's purposefully done, it's purposefully done in a way where things roll out slowly. Because in the past, I have had courses where I fully unleashed all the information and it was too much at once. And so that was some of the major feedback I'd received from courses I did years ago. So I took that feedback and I decided I was going to just roll things out bit by bit. So the prenatal eclipse section has just been released. And then the next section to be released is going to be the 7 rays. And then from there, it will be actually diving into the chart itself, starting with your things like your modalities, your polarities, your elements, and all of that, and what that means. And then from there, we're diving into your houses first. So we're going to go through all 12 houses, not looking at planets, just looking at the signs that are in the houses. It's something I don't see enough people talk about. A lot of people ignore empty houses, and all of your houses matter in your chart. So we actually go through each house individually first and outline what energy is in each house and what that means for you. Because just because there's no planet in a specific house doesn't mean you won't be affected by the energy there. And then so when it comes to 12th house stuff, your 12th house is still not your purpose. Again, 12th house deals with a lot of fun, not so fun stuff. I have a lot of things in the 12th house, so life is fun. But 12th house stuff, I mean, depending on who you listen to, it does deal with dreams, but it's not your purpose. 12th house is kind of like a lot of repressed, suppressed, subconscious stuff. It deals with death, not just physical death, but spiritual death as well. You know, the many times that you die in life. Yeah, it deals a lot with the mind, is what I like to say, and not specifically your conscious mind, more so your subconscious. It's a lot of the stuff that you kind of put into the basement, you know, that you try to hide in the closet, all the skeletons in the closet. It also deals with karma, which is more so that whole cause and effect situation, and how that may affect you in life. But yeah, I would not say that your 12th house has anything per se to do with your purpose. Again, your whole birth chart itself is, I literally like to think of it as DNA. And it's like, it's all of your little spiritual genes and all of these subconscious patterns you may have in your life, and becoming aware of those. But those patterns can keep you from consciously living your purpose. You will always unconsciously live it, but again, when you unconsciously live it, it's kind of a mixed bag. And so you could either play the negative path or the positive path, meaning the good path or the bad path, the painful path or the path of least resistance. So yeah, it's good to be able to understand all of those subconscious patterns, because that's literally what your whole chart is. It's all subconscious patterns, and each house kind of differentiates the different areas of life where those patterns may occur. And then energy and planets really kind of show you how that's playing out. And then planets are kind of like that role you play, but that's another story for another time. But anyways, yes. So again, just to wrap up, Purposeful is now launched. It is out there. It is live. You have from now until February 28th to enroll yourself. Once enrolled, you automatically gain access to all of the self-paced lessons. So everything that entails you actually learning about what your purpose is, putting together your covenant that you made with God, printing it out and having it and filling it out and signing it, because it is an actual contract that is designed for you to print out and put in order. And we do outline both your tropical and sidereal. So both Eastern and Western charts are acknowledged, because your sign of your eclipses will change. What else? So yeah, you get access to all the self-paced information. You get access immediately to the group. You have all of that information as soon as you enroll. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I wanted to mention. And you get the live sessions with me. So the first live session starts March 1st. That's our first live session. And then it's consecutively for the next 6 weeks. There's 7 sessions total over the 6 weeks, where we work together on different topics. Ooh, I can tell you guys what the topics are, and then I'll end it. I have them written down. So week 1, the live will be about endings and new beginnings. So really kind of welcoming you in to the process of embodiment and embodying your purpose, and just really acknowledging the fact that there's a whole ending and new beginning happening. There's a lot more that's going to go into it, but just trying to keep it short and sweet. The second live session is going to be about appeasing your masculine mind. So learning how to actually get your masculine energy in line with being ready to be submissive. So that'll be a fun one. The third live session is going to be all about submission. So tuning into your feminine role, your feminine heart. The fourth live session is going to be about uniting your masculine and feminine energy, which is also fun. So when I talked about submission in the third, it's going to be mixed on your submitting to your purpose, but also your feminine energy, being able to submit to your masculine. So there's going to be a lot that goes on with that one. And then, like I said, session 4 is about unification. So coming into one accord, bringing your masculine and feminine energy together so that you can then move into your purpose. Live session number 5 is actually called a fresh start, and it is about moving forward in your purpose. And then the 6th session is about reinforcing your practice. So how you can actually stay the course, because there's going to be times when you kind of waver. All right, so we're gonna go deep into that, how you can actually reinforce your practice and stay the course when it comes to being conscious in your purpose. And then we're going to end the 6 weeks with our last session, which is about fulfillment and fulfilling your purpose. And that is when you'll get official free access to the Book of You course. I don't want you guys to be distracted while trying to do the whole purposeful course. Let's see, colonialism caused a lot of pain in Kenya. It's a fact. And healing is inevitable. Your channel is unique. Well, thank you. Healing is always inevitable, for sure. Whether you're conscious of it or not, you're always going to be on a healing journey. So with that being said, that pretty much wraps it up. That is all that you get. It's a lot. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited and trusting that those who are meant to work with me on this journey for 6 weeks, they will find their way to this course. And I'm really, really excited. I'm just really excited about it. I've never offered anything like this before. So I'm just like, I'm hyped. So thank you guys, all of you, for tuning in. Thank you guys all for your comments. I really, really, really appreciate you hanging out with me for an hour now. I hope you learned a lot. That was the initial goal, was to really share a lot when it comes to your purpose. I hope that maybe some things were answered. And again, if you just want the basics, you can go into the Astro Talk series. There's a whole playlist on my channel where I start walking you through the eclipses and all of that, and you can get a basic gist of things. If you want more but aren't yet ready for Purposeful, you can join the Book of You course. That course is about $9.97 a month, and it's a cancel anytime kind of thing. So if you try it and you find that maybe it's not your vibe, it's totally okay. No offense taken here. But you will be able to learn how to put the contract together in that course. But if you're ready to take that full dive, like if you really are feeling pulled, then I suggest you jump into Purposeful, because that's going to be an amazing next 6 weeks between all of us. So with that, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys in my next video, which is Wednesday. So it'll actually be Astro Talk. So we'll be talking about your lunar eclipse in houses on Wednesday. So I'll see you then. Bye.